All right, everybody, welcome back to Sports Talk with Zach and Jason. Today we have Pete and special guest John Puccio, the Pooch Man, the Pooch Boy is here.
What is up?
We're going to discuss all things NFL as usual. We're going to cover everything that happened in week 2. We're going to cover and we're going to preview and predict week 3. So let's get it rolling. Week 2, very first game, Thursday Night Football, was Vikings versus Eagles. This was the game that I was actually able to watch. The Eagles won. It was really ugly that first half, though. Both teams didn't really feel like winning at all. So the Eagles finally decided to wake up a little bit in the second half, and they just kind of ran the ball all over the place with DeAndre Swift, and that was it. There was a little scuffle with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown because A.J. Brown is not getting the ball because duh. And that's kind of my analysis of that game so far. What do you think?
Well, I mean, they did look like shit, both teams in the first half. It was tough to watch. But
it was a little tough to watch.
I'll be honest, I only watched the first half of that game, and that was enough for me, but my big thing is Hawkinson, they are feeding him the ball in fucking Minnesota. He's looking like tight end 1 this year so far. And then on the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, man, he's struggling to throw the ball. They're not moving the ball very well, but
he doesn't look the same so far.
No, and I'm just thinking rust, the Super Bowl hangover still. I mean, he's got to eventually get it together with A.J. Brown. I mean, he was chirping at him on the sideline to get him the damn ball and stop feeding Devontae Smith the ball. But, I mean, once inside the 5-yard line, the fucking tush push, that's the most unstoppable play right now in the NFL. And I fucking hate it.
I can't
hate the tush push. If they do one thing after this year, get rid of it. This is football, not rugby. No pushing across the goal line. But I mean, you can't stop that. So I mean, Jalen Hurts might have fucking 20 touchdowns this year just
because of that.
So I mean, ugly, but fly Eagles fly. They're still holding it down.
2-0. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of sloppy football. Just a bunch of fumbling the ball all over the place for both teams. I mean, Kirk at least is passing the ball decently well. But that pick from Hurts was pretty ugly over the middle of the field. So I don't know. I'm still skeptical of what to think out of Philly. I don't know what they are right now after the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't think they know. I don't think they know what they are.
I think that they're trying to still figure it out. 2 different coordinators. They have a bunch of different running backs, and that's a good thing, but it's a good problem. But they're trying to, I feel, find out who their guys are,
Yeah.
And they just came out with a report the other day that, Swift isn't going to be the runaway back. Like, he's not going to be this bell cow. So they're going to run the ball all over the place, but it's very confusing. And I think even to fans, it's confusing. So they don't look the same as last year. The Vikings they just can't get it together.
Vikings are terrible.
They're just terrible. You know what? I can't even shit on Kirk so much because, he actually has such a terrible record in primetime games, and he didn't play. I mean, based off of the statistics that I saw, he didn't play terrible.
300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. That's a phenomenal day on any team that has a defense.
Yeah.
Mind you, with no run game, because Alexander Madison
no run game.
Lost.
Hopefully that trade for Akers helps them in the future.
I don't they traded mid for mid, if you ask me.
I'm
But
not big on him either, but it could be better than Madison. You know what?
it's something. It brings
It's
competition,
something, right?
and
Yeah.
it might light that spark under Madison, because I mean, those games that Madison played behind Cook, he was pretty good. He had fucking speed and he hit the hole hard. So
Yeah, I think that I agree with you. I think that Madison is a good 2-punch. I just don't think that he's a bell cow. Like,
Yeah.
that's not what he is.
I agree.
All right, next game was Ravens-Bengals, division game. Ravens got the win. The Bengals moved to 0-2. They look sloppy as another team that just looks sloppy, except this time they have no wins to show it. Joe Burrow is the highest paid player in NFL history, and he's dog shit so far through 2 weeks. I don't know if it's because of the calf. I don't know if it's because when you get paid that much money, like, how much do you really want to play football at that point? Like, you know what? $255 million. I don't know. This calf hurts a little bit.
I wish Ray was here right now to be here for this, because Joe fucking Burrow right now rather be in his fucking fur coats, smoking his cigars, and sitting at home on his couch right now, because he's playing like shit. And where is Jamar Chase right now? He's on milk cartons right now. He was supposed to be arguably the number 1 wide receiver next to Justin Jefferson in the league, and we can't find him right now. So someone needs to put a bolo out for him.
There's a dysfunction in their offense. It's what it's looking like.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens didn't look any much better. I mean, Lamar Jackson did enough. He's not running around like I would expect him to. I mean, he carried the ball 12 times and had 50 yards, but it's not like that dynamic playmaking ability that we're used to. And I think he's coming off of that injury season. So I think he's still finding his way. But I mean, it's a big win for the Bengals. 2-0.
Oh, you mean the Ravens? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I do think that Burrow is hurt. I know it's like when you get paid and it's tough to like say like, oh, does he actually want to be here? I do think that he wants to be here. I don't think it's anything like what Russell Wilson has shown in Denver, where he's like, I just got paid, I'm gonna hang my dick out,
Do you think Burrow's hurt more than he's letting on?
I think, you know what? I think he's just trying to play, and it's probably not what he should be doing. I don't think he should be playing, because usually a calf injury can lead to an Achilles tear, and you don't want that. You'll be out for the year, just like Rodgers,
Yeah.
So, I mean, he passed the ball okay. I mean, I saw that, T. Higgins had 2 touchdowns, but this isn't Joe Burrow right now, you know? So
he's not cooking.
I have.
He's definitely not cooking.
He's not cooking right now.
Yeah, he's not cooking.
Next, we had Seahawks versus Lions. Kind of a little bit of a shocker, in my opinion, especially after how bad the Seahawks looked in week 1. It was the Lions' biggest home game in franchise history, the largest crowd in Detroit Lions history, and they lose in overtime. Like, just the most Detroit Lions thing possible. Their defense is still fucking pitiful. They haven't fixed it. They refuse to give the ball to their fucking first-round pick, Jahmyr Gibbs. Now David Montgomery's going to be out for a while. The Seahawks offense looked really good, but I mean, the Lions defense is maybe that bad, but it was a very competitive game going back and forth. I mean, what is your take on this?
Where was this Detroit team that showed up on Thursday night, opening night in the NFL, and came in there and smacked the fucking defending champions in the mouth and walked away with a win? They nowhere to be found.
I don't know.
I was expecting Dan Campbell to come out, 4 cups of coffee in, fucking neck bulging, veins to the fucking max, and just walking all over the fucking Seahawks. But that wasn't the case. He needs to fucking hand Jahmyr Gibbs the fucking ball and let him explode all over the field. You traded up for him, use him. David Montgomery, I know he's down with the injury. Even if he was healthy, David Montgomery is not the guy. You got Jahmyr Gibbs in there to be the guy. Let him be the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know what the heck they're doing with Jahmyr Gibbs there. I mean, you trade what was he like right outside the top 10, right? He was like the 12th overall pick. How is that not your bell cow? You know what I'm saying? Although I think that the Lions are not a little bit. I think that they are overhyped. I'll moderately say that they're overhyped. I do think that week 1 they would have definitely lost if the Chiefs had Chris Jones and Travis Kelce.
I agree with that.
Such a close game. But it was a big booster, and they went into week 2 and they lost to a Seattle team that I do think that has a good offense. I can't discredit them entirely. I mean, look at their receiver core with Metcalf, Lockett, and Smith and Jigba. Yeah, that's not a bad receiver core. That's a pretty solid group.
And Geno Smith is having a renaissance over in fucking Seattle. Like, long gone Geno Smith that looked lost on the fucking MetLife Stadium turf. So,
well, that's just the Jets curse. I mean, we all know this.
All right. Next, we have Colts Texans. Anthony Richardson was going bananas until he got a concussion earlier in the game, even though he had 2 rushing touchdowns right off the bat. I mean, the other rookie quarterback, CJ Stroud, has a decent stat line so far through his first 2 games. The Colts, I believe, won this game, correct?
31-20.
31-20, yeah, because Gardner Minshew came in relief. Yeah, I mean, the Colts won. The Texans are just abominable. I mean, they're so bad. I mean, Dameon Pierce is looking like a serious fantasy bust right now because their offensive line might be worse than the Giants. Like, it's crazy.
With its history repeating itself once again in fucking Texan land, you go out, you get your shiny new quarterback, but you can't fucking protect him. And all for what? You're just wasting picks at that point. I mean, he did look good. He had a great stat line, but you really got to put the building blocks around him and let them run the ball. Pierce looked awesome last year, like rookie breakout.
Yeah, Pierce was a freak last year.
But I mean, on the Colts side, we talked about this last week. How good is Anthony Richardson going to be if he keeps taking fucking hits? And it turned out to be his own fucking hit that he did when he fucking flipped over in the fucking end zone celebrating and knocked himself out of the game. I mean, 7 minutes in, he had 17 fantasy points for me, and then gone.
Yep,
gone. Out of the building. I was like, are you kidding me? But I mean, he has all the makings to be electric, and I think he gives Indianapolis hope. And was it 2 more weeks? You get your stud running back. I think they find a way to make that work. I don't think he gets traded.
I don't think he gets traded anymore.
No, and I think Jonathan Taylor, they have a decent offensive line still there. I think you put him, and if Richardson stays healthy, those two, that's a dynamic combination. And Pittman can catch the fucking ball. So Indianapolis
looked good so far.
Yeah.
This game is actually pretty funny because these are 2 quarterbacks that me and Zack had opposing dislikes coming into the draft. I wasn't too high on Anthony Richardson. And Zack had a lot of, thought he had a lot of upside, which he does. And Zack wasn't too, big on Stroud, which is, honestly, understandable because it's an Ohio State quarterback. I mean, there's just a
look how
path
that's
to
going
it,
right now.
you
Look how
know.
that's going right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's looking terrible in Chicago. I'll tell you that.
Wait till we get to them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But for how Stroud is playing with the team that he, I guess, has around him, he's not. I mean, he's
playing
playing
well.
way better than people are expecting how they're supposed to play. They're not going to be a 7-8 win team. They're going to probably win 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, it's like the third most passing yards in all of football.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, these are always just projections and predictions that we always go into the year of quarterbacks who we think we like out of the draft and we think is going to be good. And it's nice to at least see, there are quarterbacks that we predict that they come out and they look good, So
he needs to keep throwing to Tank Dell because fucking Tank Dell
and Nico Collins, I like some of these young kids he's got throwing.
Yeah, they got youth there. So, I mean, lock for them.
Yeah, they're just two young teams that, if they are coached well in the future, could look, as a good mix down the road in the AFC. So we'll see.
All right. Next, we have Bears playing the Buccaneers. The Baker Mayfield resurgence possibly in Tampa Bay. Buccaneers got the win. They're 2-0 right now. The Bears, I think the main story out of this game, though, is really the Bears. I mean, the Bears are atrocious. They're abysmal. Fields is a total bust, if you ask me. I mean, he can't 2 straight games with a pick 6, 2 straight games with multiple turnovers. I mean, good Lord. Eberflus fucking sucks. This guy's supposed to be a defensive mastermind. Ever since he took over, they have actually let up at least 26 points every single game that Eberflus has coached. Every single one. That's a real stat. So I think everyone's going to get fired there. I think they're going to just do full scorched earth. They might end up with the number 1 pick. I mean, that's how bad they are. So it's not looking good in Chicago.
They need to go scorched earth soon. Because they are fucking terrible. I mean, what is it? Their defensive coordinator stepped down and then got raided by the fucking FBI.
So he resigned, and the FBI raid is not true.
It's not true?
It's not true. A lot of conflicting reports. That did not happen. All we know is that he resigned effective immediately for family and health issues. So
yeah, because the team was killing him. They're fucking terrible. Justin Fields, I want you to hear this. I hope Justin Fields hears this. Fuck you. I want Ray's nipples pierced by the end of this fucking season. And right now, we're at 3,573 more yards. There's a better chance of me throwing that this year. So fuck you, Justin Fields. You're really fucking pissing me off. But he only needs 238 more yards per game to make 4,000. So I'll give him one more fucking week. One more week, Justin Fields.
Yeah, the Baker Mayfield comeback is looking pretty nice right now. The defense never went away. They still have really good receivers. I still doubt Todd Bowles. I'm not a believer in Todd Bowles as a head coach.
Nope.
But they're looking good enough where they can maybe win the division as of right now.
Crazy. Which is crazy.
Everyone thought that they were going to be a 4 to 5 win team. So, but on the other hand, the Bears, the motto as of right now, they are whipped cream on shit. They are. Nothing but fucking dog shit out of that team. I mean, they have nothing. Like, they can't do anything. Like, their coordinators are just their coordinator. Because they don't have another coordinator.
Yeah.
What a shit show. Like, that was as bad as, who was that one player on the Bills that fucking retired at halftime?
Vontae Davis.
Vontae Davis. I mean, that's literally the first thing that came to my mind. when that happened. You know, like what a joke. Like you resigned, like you're too much of a pussy to like finish out the year.
Can't do
Like
it.
what a clown. You know what? Get the fuck off the field. Honestly.
Honestly, what I want to see is I want to see a new fucking Progressive commercial where fucking Baker Mayfield moves into fucking Tampa Bay and Mike Evans opens the door with the fountain of youth and he fucking greets him down there because Mike Evans looks fucking phenomenal so far this year. He
Zach knows a lot about Mike Evans.
Yeah, I had him on my bench this week.
Against me.
I started D-Hop over him this week.
What did he even
the
give
wrong
you?
guy with soft tissue injury history to fucking play.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that D-Hop had 13 targets last week and they were going up against the Chargers. So I figured there was going to be a lot of positive game script there.
Mike Evans is back. That's a fact.
Yeah. I mean, he's not leaving.
He's never gone away, but he's really
he's
back.
never gone away. He's always been good.
Yeah.
All righty. Next, we had Chiefs Jaguars. This was a close game for most of it, and really low scoring from the Jaguars. Jaguars really disappointing. Performance on offense. Travis Kelce was back, but he was definitely rusty. The Chiefs still just kind of look rusty, but the Chiefs were able to pull it out and get their first win of the season. All around, again, just another example of just sloppy football right now.
Yeah, Super Bowl hangover still, it carries over for the fucking winners too. I mean, Chiefs got their first dub of the year. They got their boys back. Kelce was back playing. You got fucking Chris Jones on the defensive side. I think the Chiefs are still struggling to find themselves offensively. I mean, outside of Kelce, that offense is pretty stagnant. Pacheco looks subpar, and their wide receivers, they're still. I think Mahomes is trying to find a comfort level with somebody. I mean, when you lose, he had a good rapport with Hardman, and I mean, Juju was pretty solid for him. Caught the passes that need to be caught. And I think he's still trying to find his go-to guy outside of Kelce because Kelce's not always going to be open.
Yeah, so, it's not looking too great over there. You know, Hardman and Juju aren't, you know, nothing special, but I do think that Juju is a solid like 2/3 guy. And I thought that complemented Kelce well, and they don't have either of those guys right now. And when you guys have, you know, guys like Kadarius Toney out there just dropping balls nonstop, I mean, it's not going to help you. I mean, he single-handedly lost them week 1. You know, terrible.
So, and the
Jaguars, I'm going to be honest here, I didn't buy so much into the hype coming into the year of them being this 13-win team. You know, I do think that they're maybe a 10 to maybe 11 wins. But 13 wins, as to what I saw a lot of people say, I didn't buy into it too much, you know.
I think with a coach like Doug Peterson, he coached them up so well last year, and you just saw the progression of Trevor Lawrence. And I think everybody expects that to build. And then you bring in a weapon like Calvin Ridley. You have to almost expect that sort of play to just progress. But I mean,
the takeoff, yeah.
They haven't shown it yet. I think it's still there. I mean, the AFC South is a very winnable division. So I expect them to get clicking a little bit more. I think Chris Jones being on defense helped disrupt things with Trevor Lawrence. So I think the Chiefs build off of this, and Mahomes is going to Mahomes. So I think
he'll struggle for a little bit more, but I think come October he's going to lock in, and if they're still they'll still be in the mix.
Of course,
if they're struggling still, I mean, they're going to win that division regardless. But if they're struggling still, they're not going to hesitate, and they're going to go get him a receiver at the deadline.
Hello, Mike Evans.
It might be Mike.
Well, I don't know.
The Bucks are 2-0 right now, so
they're 2-0. Yeah. So is he even going to be available? That's a good question.
Also
but there's a bunch of teams that have good receivers that aren't going to, do anything, and they might be on the market. So we'll see.
I think Taylor Swift, though, she's going to be the key to this. If things work out with her and Kelsey, whew, through the roof.
So stupid.
Through the roof.
It's terrible.
I would have actually liked to seen Jonathan Taylor get traded to Philly just so that they could have had a Taylor Swift backfield.
Oh my God.
So
all right. Next. We're moving on here. We had Packers Falcons, really close game. Falcons pulled it out. They're a surprising 2-0 team right now. Even with them having the worst quarterback on God's creation. Desmond Ridder is still abysmal. Drake London was able to have a good game though for once, but they're just running the ball and they're playing defense, and that's still the age-old age-old, what is that fucking saying? Age-old adage of
the adage right there.
Yes.
You know what adds up? Carries. That's what adds up. When you're fucking running the ball almost 40 times a game, I mean,
it's working.
That shows no faith in your quarterback because he's fucking terrible. Just get him out of there. I saw a stat, and it was like the first season that Pitts played, and he had like 100 targets. He had over 1,000 yards, and it's like, wow, this guy, he's gonna be something. And then the steady fucking decline. Kyle Pitts is the Pitts.
Yeah, he's horrible.
I will say Robinson,
he smells like Pitts.
He smells like Pitts. Brian Robinson, though, he is the real fucking deal. Did anyone see that overhead shot that they did in slow-mo of him fucking cutting through the line about 7 different times and just making people fucking look like he was moving like a fucking yo-yo? It was ridiculous. I think he is going to be the key to that offense. And as long as he stays healthy, things will be all right with him if they fucking run the ball 25 times with him. On the flip side for the Packers, I thought their defense was week 1. I was like, oh, they still got they got a defense. Keep them in. And then they just got run all over. Jordan Love looks like
good.
the real fucking deal.
Jordan Love looks good.
He doesn't make many mistakes. Clean football, throws tuds. Let them get Christian Watson back. That guy, big target for him. Just needs to fucking get his hamstring right. I don't think he's playing this week, but I mean, Jordan Love definitely learned something under the Aaron Rodgers football tree. So we'll see how well that works out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Falcons just kind of a little bit out-coached Green Bay there. I'm not a huge Matt or Mike LaFleur? Matt LaFleur. I'm not a big Matt LaFleur guy anymore after last season. I do think that was such a winnable game for the Packers. And I agree. I do think that that Jordan Love is the real deal. He's filling in, not at that level just yet of Rodgers, but I think that he's going to be just fine there. But on the other hand, with Atlanta, they're looking good. Just their quarterback just needs to go get a fucking Chuck E. Cheese application because he's just, they're going to win their games because they're going to run the football. Other than that, it ain't going to be him.
No, he is not. He is not in a 2-minute drill going to drive that football team down and to lead them to victory.
Yeah, he's in the 2-minute drill walking back to the parking lot from the stadium. That's about it.
Horrible.
All right. Next we had Raiders Bills home opener. Pretty much predicted that this was going to happen. This was a nice bounce back game for the Bills. Raiders defense is just not there. I mean, they have a great pass rush with Max Crosby, but there's just no secondary at all anywhere. And I'm still just not sold on McDaniels. I'm not sold on what they're trying to do right now. Jimmy G is a stopgap. It's the Bills are clearly still the better team in the AFC. Pete's not having a good time with it right now, but let's give this Raiders thing to Pete here.
So I just want to start this off by saying that I am scamming YouTube TV and NFL Sunday Ticket by claiming that I am some college fucking basketball player and using their student discount just every Sunday. And I don't know the legalities of me doing something like that. I hope I don't get caught. I hope YouTube and the NFL's not listening to this right now. But man, the fucking things I do to watch my fucking football team. God, fucking terrible. I would like to start with one, either mental health or CTE. It's a real thing. Someone needs to call up Chandler Jones and fucking check on this guy, because the last I saw, he was eating fucking Wheaties in his underwear out by his pool, tagging LeBron in fucking posts. The guy's not well. Someone needs to go check on him. And after they check on him, they need to fucking hand him his pink slip and get him out of the fucking Raiders organization and put fucking Tyree Wilson full time on the edge and fucking get pressure on the quarterback outside of Mad Max.
Yeah.
Outside of Crosby, they have nothing on defense. It is fucking terrible. Josh Allen looked like, what fucking turnovers did he have? He looked amazing after we were just dogging him last week about saying he's not it anymore. He's washed. Fuck him. They ran all over us and made us look like a fucking Pop Warner practice squad. By the time that it was 31-10, McDaniels should be fired for having fucking Devontae Adams in the game still to get fucking run down on a fucking Hail Mary pass that shouldn't have happened. So you get him out on a concussion, and without Jacobs missed preseason, and he looks like it. He needs to, I hope this is the week where he gets his legs back, because he looks fucking stuck in the mud. Zamir White, they brought him in at the end of that game, and he had fucking a pep in his step that I used to see in Jacobs. I hope Jacobs is just slow from missing training camp in the preseason. But God, and somebody throw fucking Hunter Renfrow the ball, please. He fucking Pro Bowl wide receiver, and he's had one target in the first 2 weeks.
McDaniels doesn't like him. He just doesn't like him.
And you know what? I don't like McDaniels. He is a fucking piece of shit in his stupid fucking visor. I don't care what fucking John Gruden said in those emails to Snyder. He was better than fucking.
You're not wrong. I mean, McDaniels was never going to be good. Like I never liked the hire to begin with, and it's unfortunately we're seeing it now. So
I do love the fucking GM though.
I like their GM. I really do like their GM.
Coming from the Patriots, understands how to put together a fucking team, but McDaniels can't coach for shit.
No, he can't.
Yeah, coaching is gonna get you a long way in this league, and if you can't coach, you're not going that far. I mean, that's showing it with the Raiders. I don't think that they're such a horrible team. They have decent pieces. With they traded a first-round pick for Devontae Adams. They have Josh Jacobs. Jimmy G's a middling quarterback, but he's a winner. He's a proven winner. Their defense is just, I mean, I don't watch too much Raiders football, but based off of what I've seen, it's not there, their defense.
Their defense is always bottom 25 in the league.
Yeah. So, but the problem is, if you have a coach that isn't it, you're not going to get anything out of it. You know, at least with proven with the Giants last year, they had a coach that got the most out of their players, and that's not what they're getting out of with McDaniels over there. But other than that, I mean, good comeback, bounce back week for the Bills, and that's really it. That's all that I have.
All right. Next, we had the Chargers versus Titans. Titans home opener. Tannehill played a better game, a little bit cleaner. But the Chargers just don't know how to win. They might have the worst head coach in football. I mean, Brandon Staley is a fucking giant heaping pile of fucking cow shit. I mean, he has no idea what he's doing. He's lucky he has Justin Herbert and Austin. You know, there was no Austin Eckler, so the run game wasn't the same. But there's all these fucking weapons and talent on this team, and it fucking means diddly poo because their head coach they have a fucking civilian impersonating a head coach. So the Chargers are awful.
After venting about the Raiders, mind you, they're still tied for first place in the AFC West. But nothing brings a smile more to my face than hearing the demise and the misfucking fortune of this. I was going to call them the fucking Los Angeles Chargers. They prove time and time again that they don't know how to close out games and they don't know how to win when it matters the most. And I will say, I T's and P's to fucking Justin Herbert, because as long as he's a Charger, he's never going to fucking win. He can throw all the 300-yard fucking games, 2 tuds, 3 tuds, 4 tuds. Guess what? You're going home when it comes to January. That fucking team is just, that again, we go back to coaching.
He might be the modern day Dan Marino.
He might be. He might be, you know. Yeah. And you know what? I saw that that post conference with what is the head coach's name? I'm sorry.
Staley. He's a fucking
Brandon
idiot.
Staley.
Brandon Staley. I saw that, and you know, he tried to back up his players. And then I saw another video on Twitter of him walking out of the room like with a smile on his face. Like, wipe that fucking smirk off your face. There's nothing to smile about here. Like, you're a fucking bitch. Like they're literally like, it's just such a shit show with the coaching staff there. Like, he's terrible. You have a top 3 quarterback in the league, and you can't get it together. I mean, I don't even really think it could be that hard.
I don't know.
The other thing I want to touch on real quick is on the flip side, Derrick Henry. I mean, carried the rock 25 times, but I think we talked about it again last week.
He's getting old.
Those miles have added up, and
I think this is the end.
He's reached the this could be the farewell before he really falls off the cliff. He is in Ezekiel Elliott territory right now, and I hate to talk bad about him because, man, if there was ever a dominating player that you just faced across the field, you would not want to be lined up against that fucking guy. And he is not it anymore. And that's
I agree with you to an extent, but I just think that he's like the only main, like when you think of the Titans, you think of Derrick Henry and nobody else. You know what I'm saying?
Franchise.
Like, I feel like if he went to a team that was stacked as fuck, you know, like I'd be like, all right, he could do some damage here, but I wouldn't say that he's like completely going to fall off like Ezekiel Elliott bad, but there's definitely a decline for sure. I agree.
Yeah, and it's not like the Titans haven't had chances to win. I mean, they were the
They've
number
had chances to win. I agree.
they were the number one seed in the AFC a couple years ago. So it is what it is. Next was the 49ers against the Rams division game. 49ers pulled it out. They're the most complete team in football. I just think they're so talented from top to bottom. There's no weaknesses. It's a little frightening and scary. I can't stand the fucking 49ers. So whatever.
Imagine if Purdy didn't get hurt last year.
They probably win the Super Bowl.
There's a good chance they
It's a
fucking
really good chance.
Especially Zach and I talked about this. Fucking Christian McCaffrey is a weapon. When he is healthy, he is the best player on the offensive side in football. And since December 4th, 2022, in every game McCaffrey has played in, he has scored a fucking touchdown. That's stupid stats right there.
That's insane.
Like, the greatest thing the Carolina Panthers ever did for him was shipping him off to fucking San Francisco. I mean, he runs hard. He has the fucking speed. Just an embarrassment of riches over there in San Francisco. And the fact that Brock Purdy is seemingly the guy there, like, I don't think it was a question mark. Was this a fluke? But like, he does just enough to manage that football team to steer the ship and win games.
It'd be really hard to beat.
Yep. Yeah. And Kittle isn't even doing anything this year.
There's too many weapons.
There's too much. There's too many mouths to feed.
There's too many mouths to feed, which is a great thing, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great problem to have.
Samuel, Kittle, McCaffrey, but McCaffrey's the main guy, and their offensive line is unbelievable.
It's the best.
So how hard really is it for any quarterback to be in that system and fail?
I don't. If we put Desmond Ridder there, I still think he fails.
Oh. He should just apply to go work at, Janitors Co.
Janitors. All right. Next was the Giants versus Cardinals. The very first half of the game, me, Rich, and Leonard all texted each other at the same time when the Cardinals went up 20-0. We said, season's over. Let's tank for Caleb. We're done. See you later. Red zone the rest of the year. I go away to go have dinner with my girlfriend's family. We come out of dinner. The Giants won. They pulled off a 21-point comeback, 31 unanswered points, all in the second half. Daniel Jones has one of the greatest halves of football from a quarterback ever. Only quarterback with 250 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, 2 touchdown passes, a rushing touchdown, and no turnovers. No quarterback has ever done that before in the history of football. And it's like, where was this last week against the Cowboys? I understand the Cardinals are a really bad team, but they're not playing like they're the worst team in football. There's a couple other teams that look worse than them right now. But 31 points in one half of football is still a lot. I don't care who they're playing. So I guess I have to be happy about it. And we'll see how they're doing. We'll see how they do moving forward. It's a tie game, I believe, right now, 3-3 in the second quarter. So the Giants are holding their own right now.
You spoke too soon. Niners just scored a touchdown.
So what? It's 10-3. They're not getting blown out right now, which is fine. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happened with the Giants and Cardinals. And
I think, I don't know. I'm torn on this because I watched this game via Red Zone, and every time I looked up, Cardinals scored. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I was like, the Giants are fucking washed. And then the second half, it was a completely different game. And I don't know if that was like the Giants' wake-up call. And Daniel Jones was like, I'm fucking putting this team on my fucking back and I'm taking them back. Or was it the fucking Cardinals? And they were like, ah, shit, what the fuck are we doing? We have to lose every single fucking game to get Caleb Williams in this fucking building.
I don't know. There's a couple of
I don't
fucking go.
Listen, I think from week one it was a colossal disappointment with the Giants, and all the Giants fans had every right to be disappointed. Coming into this year, they were supposed to be better on paper. And then from the first half of football of last week was just completely abysmal. But to come back and, put up 31, was it unanswered?
Well, the Cardinals scored 8 more points in the second half. So it was
okay. So,
it was still 20. It was 24 unanswered or like 23 unanswered or something like that.
What was the final score? Do you remember?
It was 31 to
31-28.
Okay. So to put up 31, was it all in the second half?
All in the second half.
All in the second half. Okay. I understand that the Cardinals are probably a bottom 5 defense and offensive team, but to put up 31 in one half on an NFL defense is, I guess you could give your credit to Daniel Jones there. I mean, he hadn't been able to do anything the first 6 quarters of football because the offensive line wasn't helping him out, So
Zero help.
I mean, I know that the Giants just brought in Justin Pugh for a workout, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's so funny. After the biggest home opening blowout loss in Giants franchise history, the following week they have the biggest comeback in Giants franchise history. Like it's so crazy how
there's so many teams this year you could just tally up. It's like, what is their record gonna finish with? It's so
sloppy football.
Because
a ton of sloppy football.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Jets Cowboys in Arlington. Cowboys home opener. Jets roll in with Zach Wilson at the helm. No Aaron Rodgers. Dan was very confident that the Jets were going to win this game, and I just think he's trying his best to make it a great Sunday.
Can I go first on this?
Yes, the Cowboys fan can go first.
Okay, perfect. So I listen to this podcast very often, and going into this year, I listened to that guy Dan DePietro, love him to death. He had some doubt that the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't make the playoffs this year. That's one. And then on top of, after last week of putting up a 40 burger on the Giants, who got better and were a playoff team, had confidence with Zach Wilson to go into Dallas and win, I want my apology. I want my apology because let's face it, I don't know if he's the only person that thought that they weren't going to be a playoff team, but I want to just state the obvious with the crystal in my hand. The Cowboys are Super Bowl caliber. They are. Whether we want to believe it or we don't want to believe it, they are Super Bowl caliber. Their defense, their offense isn't anything spectacular. They're not the Chiefs' offense, but their play calling has been significantly better with Mike McCarthy over Kellen Moore. I mean, he manages the clock better than Kellen Moore. He doesn't end up having to keep trying to run down the field, score immediately. I mean, Kellen Moore is a perfect example in LA. I mean, he's just not getting it done. Like he's scoring too fast for their offense. He's just a guy that just wants to score too fast. And then I feel like you're burning out your team. You need to manage the clock. You're having the opposing defense on the field too long. You're having the opposing quarterback sit on the sideline. You have to, that's the way it should be. With the opposing quarterback goes out there and he's like, all right, I'm ready to just come back out and do this again, and they manage the clock better than you. So Mike McCarthy, we can't shit on him right now. I think he's calling a good, he's called the first two good games so far. And we know what Dan Quinn is as a defensive coordinator. So as of right now, and I think it's an unbiased answer, it's Dallas and San Francisco for the NFC right now.
I would agree with that.
I mean, out the gate facts right there. And let me just say, Micah Parsons, if any fucking defensive player wanted to make a fucking push for MVP, he's fucking doing it. That guy is all over the field. And that hit that multiple hits he laid on fucking Wilson, it was cringeworthy. And
it was
for Dan, I know he put on the brave face after the Rodgers injury, and you kind of got to. Your season's not dead with a defense like that.
They need
Moment
to someone.
The Jets season is over. And I wish Dan was here because I would just be gentle with the words that I would say.
But
it's fucking over.
I try to be nice. I really do. And I actually want the Jets to succeed because a team like that in New York, and you're so bad for so long, you want them to succeed. You know what I'm saying?
Gut-wrenching watching.
It's just gut-wrenching every year with them.
The full fucking the Hard Knock series, and just the belief that Aaron Rodgers came here. He chose us. He wanted to come here and lift our fucking team and our city up and fucking make us winners again. And that just got dashed out in a fucking instant.
Right out of their hands.
That hurts. That really fucking hurts.
And also, I'd like to add that the Dak Prescott haters are pretty quiet right now. No picks going around. So he's nothing elite. We know this. But in the NFC, what quarterback do you love? You know what I'm saying? You love Carr? You love Goff? I mean, listen, Jalen Hurts, all pro, hard to do. But do you love anybody in the NFC? That's what I'm saying. Like the AFC, I feel like there are the quarterbacks that were like, wow, elite Hall of Fame type quarterbacks. You don't see that in the NFC right now.
Yeah.
That's at least to me is what I think. So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And so Dak, I think that it's so good.
Dak has not given away the game yet. And there's been a tendency where Dak starts to turn the ball over, people shit on Dak. I think Dak is a very serviceable quarterback, and I don't think Dak is the player that he was before he broke his leg. Before he broke his leg, he was throwing the ball like a different fucking animal.
Like a different breed, yeah.
You don't see that much anymore, but I think if he stays mistake-free, that defense stays lights out. I mean, you guys lost Trayvon Diggs today with an ACL in practice.
Yeah, big blow. All pro corner. We talked about it a little bit today in our group chats. It felt like a little bit of a punch in the stomach because anybody losing an all pro, it's tough.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like it was like losing a Micah Parsons or a CeeDee Lamb because they have such deep depth at the corner position, and it's going to be a downgrade a little bit,
Sure.
But
coming from a player like Diggs.
Right. Yeah. So what I was getting at was I think that Deron Bland is going to step in just fine. I mean, he was a rookie last year and he led the team with 5 picks and he already has a pick this year. So I'm excited to see him on the opposite side of Gilmore. So yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to be okay. I don't think that they're going to have such a fall off in their defense.
No, I don't think so either. I think they still play lights out.
But before we end this, I do think that the Jets will add a quarterback if they end up losing this week. If they really see that Wilson isn't the guy, they'll definitely go out and they'll add a quarterback. I don't think that Joe Douglas is just going to wash away this season. He knows how talented this Jets team is.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think they bring in someone no matter what. I think even if they do win this weekend, I think they bring in someone. They kind of have to. You just have to, in my opinion. Next we have Commanders versus Broncos. The Broncos were leading for most of the game, and then Eric Bieniemy is pretty much changed the offense in Washington. I mean, they're scoring a ton of points. I know they played the Cardinals week 1 and they're playing the Broncos week 2. Those are two pretty shitty teams, but I mean, Washington's 2-0. Sam Howell's playing pretty okay football. They don't have Washington's defense is actually worse than I thought it was going to be this year so far. They're giving up a lot of points, but yeah, but I'm so happy to see the Broncos just continue to be bad. I fucking hate Sean Payton. I'll probably say it throughout the entire season. I hope they fucking go 0-17. I can't stand Russell Wilson. I can't stand Sean Payton. I fucking hate that team.
Oh, again, another team that I just smile when they lose. And I've said this plenty of times on this podcast that Russell Wilson is cooked. He's no longer cooking. I mean, this week he showed glimpses of the Russ of old, but I think it was just a product of a poor Washington defense. And it was just tit for tat going back and forth. But Broncos country, we are not riding. We are we are not riding. And Sam Howell, you said it, he's looking pretty serviceable. I mean, yeah. I wasn't sure what to expect coming into this year on our quarterback list. He was one of the quarterbacks where I kind of had a question mark next to, where I wasn't sure where I could place him. So I had him towards the end, the bottom of the list. But I mean, you got weapons to throw to. You got Scary Terry, and then you got Dotson to throw to. I think he looks pretty good. So I mean, fucking Washington Commanders, I would never have thought they would be 2-0 to start the season. So they're doing something right, I guess. I don't know how long the air lasts in the balloon, but it's a nice story to start the season.
Yeah, they look pretty good right now. They're showing they're not a pushover team. I didn't think that they were going to be a terrible team coming into the year. And I didn't think that Sam Howell was going to play bad. But I agree. I'm on the same train as you guys with rooting against Denver. They're just a bunch of wieners there. You know, they can't close out a game. Even with Sean Payton there. I don't doubt his coaching. I just think that there's not going to be good enough of a chemistry with him and Russell Wilson this late in his career. I think that once he had that leverage of having his own office in the building, really shit the bed for that franchise with him. I mean, I don't understand. They took the chair, they took the office away from him. But I just don't. I'm not a believer in Denver.
No. Broncos country. Let's cry.
It's not gonna ride. It's gonna.
My God. All righty. Next, we had Dolphins Patriots. Dolphins 2-0. I mean, they have an elite offense. Tua's having a great year so far because he's staying healthy. They're protecting him. The big weakness of the Dolphins right now is that defense. I mean, that defense is not good. They've given up 51 points so far through the first 2 weeks. If it wasn't for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert, I mean, they probably aren't 2-0, so their offense, they're lucky their offense is this good because it'll keep them in a bunch of games because they'll just probably win and just shootouts. So, I mean, the Patriots played them tough. It's division game, but I mean, Dolphins 2-0.
The one person you didn't mention, fucking the head coach for the Dolphins, Mike McDaniels. I fucking love that guy. That guy is
I'm a fan.
Fucking character. He is probably my favorite fucking coach in the NFL right now.
He's a weird guy, but he knows
he's
football.
So eccentric and just so football smart that when you put those weapons together, then mix them in a fucking pot. Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Mostert playing lights out, a healthy Tua. That offense is fucking firepower. I mean, the defense is underwhelming right now. They're not playing to what they should be playing to, I think. If they turn that around, that's a scary team in the AFC West or AFC East. I mean, the Patriots, they struggled. I mean, Mac Jones, that was more of a come back down to earth performance for what Mac Jones has been. Ramondre Stevenson didn't really get the run that he should have. Couldn't really get in a rhythm. I think this is what you're going to see out of the Patriots. They're going to be up and down, up and down. I don't see any consistency in them. Dolphins are a real story here. I think offense keeps chugging away. They're going to be a tough team to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Dolphins are legit. I just wanted to question one thing. Vic Fangio, not only I know he's their defensive coordinator, but he was signed the week before the Super Bowl to help out Philly. Was that correct? I'm almost positive.
Because
if that's true,
no idea. Actually,
he fucking sucks.
Yeah, you are correct that he signed a contract right before the Super Bowl to help them prepare.
He helped them prepare. Yeah, his preparation is as useful as I don't even want to say. I was going to say something terrible.
A poopy flavored lollipop.
A poopy flavored lollipop. That's the most PG-13 version of what I was going to say. But
yeah, I mean,
very bad. And it's just so confusing. I mean, they have decent pieces on their defense. I mean, they traded for Bradley Chubb, so I don't understand.
Bradley,
they're going to be getting down the road Jalen Ramsey back. And
Ramsey back. I was going to say that's going to help them.
It'll help them, but how much is it going to help them if the play calling isn't going to be good, So that's where I just stand on them.
All right. So we had 2 Monday Night Football games. The first one was Saints-Panthers. It was Bryce Young's home opener. And it looks like he got hurt in that game. But the Saints, I believe, the Saints took this. The Saints won, right?
2017.
Yeah, 2020. Oh, wow. It was closer than I thought.
Close, yeah.
Game
was much closer than I would have expected it to be. Very underwhelming game from Carr, but I mean the Saints did just enough to squeak out with the dub. I mean they did lose Jamal Williams. He hurt his hamstring and no Kamara, so they were down to like their 4th string running back because Kendre Miller was out too with I think he had a hammy too. Taysom Hill was their number 1 rusher. So
yikes.
They're
dealing with the injury bug.
Yeah. The performance from Carr, I think again, I'm a big Carr guy, of course, but I think once he gets more comfortable, I love seeing Michael Thomas in the running for comeback player of the year. He stays healthy. They're feeding him the ball there, and I mean, he doesn't look like the Michael Thomas of 100 and
2019.
whatever. Yeah, no, that's long gone. But good to see him on the field. I think the Saints are in a winnable division, but they're 2-0 right now, so you can't hate on that. Bryce Young looks like a rookie quarterback on a shitty team.
Yeah.
It's
You know what I think? Undersized is what it is.
he's a
Little boy
yeah, he's
behind
a
the line
full
is
freshman
what
playing
he
with
is.
big boy men.
You know what's really fucked up? What's fucked up is the quarterback sneak is not in the Carolina Panthers offensive playbook because they don't think they could get it because he's too small.
Not even the tush push can fucking save this guy.
Nope. So
Well, when you have Flat Stanley under center, I don't think you're going to get the extra yards. So,
all right, the last game of the week was Browns Steelers. Yikes. I mean, there's a lot of things we could talk about with this game. Nick Chubb suffered a possible career-ending knee injury that just looks so bad. The Steelers won this game while having 0 offensive net yards in the fourth quarter. I mean, TJ Watt in the defense just took over. Kenny Pickett is atrocious. Matt Canada might be the worst coordinator in football right now. The Steelers somehow, some way pulled out a win because they're well coached on the defensive side of the ball with Tomlin. It's just, man, their offense is so pitiful. And you know what? The butthole toucher is very far removed from his 2019 campaign. So it's it's a little rough, you know. So
the butthole has been touched too much, and he is not the player that he was. And you know what that goes down to? When you get $200 million guaranteed dollars for jerking off on fucking masseuses, that's what happens. He is a privileged player in the league, and he shouldn't be shoving around referees. They should suspend him. But I am so happy that Baker Mayfield is thriving down in Tampa and got out of the shithole that is Cleveland. Oh boy.
Don't worry, I have it right here.
Nick Chubb, man. T's and P's to that guy. Second catastrophic knee injury in his career. I know we talked about it, and I said that he was going to be back by week 5 next year. That's me being an optimist and modern technology, and maybe they give him a bionic leg. It looked gruesome enough where they didn't show the replay on the broadcast, and you heard the replay on the field, and the away team or the home team, and you're the away team, an audible gasp when his knee exploded. Just terrible. I think without him, that team starts sinking fast with Watson playing the way he is. He is not the guy. On the flip side, the Steelers, they're fucking terrible too. Kenny Pickett is an abysmal piece of shit with tiny hands. And Najee Harris looks like how Derrick Henry is going to wind up running in a couple more years. That is where Najee Harris
is horrible.
He looks like he's running with fucking cement blocks on his fucking feet. He is just the epitome of a 2-yard guy, and then he falls. No separation, no speed. Kenny Pickens had that fucking touchdown grab, and it was like he caught the ball in the middle of the field and was surprised that he caught the ball, 1. And then 2, he was surprised that the Cleveland Browns defense is so inept that no one was around him. So he just said, oh, I guess I'll score the touchdown. Thanks, guys. That's what that touchdown looked like to me. 2 terrible teams. They're going nowhere. Wave the terrible towel for both of them. They're fucked.
Yeah, I think that everyone thought that this Deshaun Watson move was going to be like a Michael Vick type comeback. And it's just not looking like it right now. I don't know what the heck is going on in Pittsburgh on the offense, but you got a freaking quarterback that looks like a baker with those gloves. I mean, I can't get behind. I mean, I can get with one glove, but two gloves, you're a bitch. Like you're a beta.
All right. Let's take it easy. Let's not hate on Teddy Two Gloves though.
Oh,
Teddy
no,
Bridgewater is
You know what?
always
Okay,
one
I
of the
guess he has the exception. I forgot about him.
gloves.
I forgot about him. I don't fully hate on Bridgewater, but we knew.
I bet Bridgewater's hands
You know what?
are
But we
fucking
knew.
like Andre the Giant's
No.
compared to Kenny Pickett.
But we knew what Bridgewater was, at least. Like, this kid was supposed to be their future, even though that a lot of people didn't see it. He was their first round pick. He's not. Listen, I think he's gone after this year.
More than likely.
But those are two teams that they're going to be fighting in a puddle of shit for the rest of the year in that division, because neither of them have any optimism going forward, especially after Cleveland losing Chubb.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not good. All right, let's move on to week 3. We're going to announce everybody's picks here. Let me pull up Dan. So Dan made his picks in terms of betting. So he obviously didn't pick. He only has like one outright winner. He has just picks with the spreads. So, but I'll go first. Giants, 49ers. It's almost halftime. Giants losing 17-3. No surprises here. Yeah, I think the 49ers will win. Jason has the 49ers winning. Dan has the Giants covering the 10-point spread. So.
And Dan's a loser because the 49ers are about to run wild on them right now. The train is leaving the station. 49ers by 20.
Yeah, I agree. I got the 49ers. They don't give me a reason to lose. And that's it. That's nothing more to be explained.
Next is Falcons, Lions. Lions are home again. Desmond Ridder is not playing in Atlanta, so maybe he'll actually lose this time because he's undefeated when he plays at home. So I'm going to take the Lions in a hopefully bounce back home win. Jason's taking the Falcons. Dan is taking the Lions -3.
I'm going to go with the Lions on this one as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions as well.
All right. We have the Chargers, Vikings up next. Me and Jason are both picking the Chargers. Dan is just picking this Chargers straight up, no spread.
Oh, Dan's a loser again because this is not a primetime game and Kirk Cousins is going to fucking carve up the Chargers.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me to pick. The Chargers are a drastically more talented team, but based off of how their coaching is so unbelievably bad that they could really just lose almost any game imaginable. But I did pick the Chargers based off of how abysmal the Vikings defense is, but it wouldn't shock me one bit if the Vikings won this game. It's kind of a coin toss for me, but I decided to just choose the Chargers.
All right. Next, we have the Saints Packers in Lambeau. I'm taking the Packers at home here. The Saints have just not really looked all that great to me, in all honesty. I'm going to pick the Packers. Jordan Love has looked good. Jason is also picking the Packers. Dan has the. I think he has the Falcons here. Or does he not have the Falcons on here? Here, you guys pick yours. I'll see if he even included the Falcons here.
Dano's staying away from this game, I guess, on the old betting app here. I'm going with the Packers at home. It'll be a close game.
Oh, he has Saints +2. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go home team on this one, Packers.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going Packers as well here.
Next is Texans versus Jaguars. This is pretty simple for me. I'm taking the Jaguars at home here. Texans are just they're not good at all. Jason also has the Jaguars. Dan has Texans covering the 9.5-point spread.
Division game, but this is a healthy dose of the get right for the Jags. Look for Trevor Lawrence to show up and show out on this one. Going Jags.
I'm taking the Jags as well, but I think that the Texans could cover the spread. I think that CJ Stroud is better than what people are going to think this year. So,
all right. Next up, we have the Broncos versus Dolphins in Miami. I'm taking the Dolphins. Broncos fucking suck. Dolphins, they might be without Jalen Waddle this week, but I don't think it's gonna matter. I got the Dolphins winning. Jason's got the Dolphins winning, and Dan has the Dolphins at -6.5.
Waddle. Even though he's might not play, Dolphins fins up for this one.
yeah, the Dolphins are going to teabag the Broncos. So simple as that.
Next, we have the Titans versus the Browns in Cleveland. Browns will have a new running back in Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. I don't really like the Titans on the road. I don't really like Derrick Henry right now. I'm not liking D-Hop right now. I'm going to take the Browns in this one. I think the Browns are the better team, and maybe Deshaun Watson wakes up a little bit. I'm going to take the Browns. Jason's also taking the Browns. Let's see who Dan's got going on here. He has Titans +3.
I think you're right. The Browns are the better team, and at home they should win. But I'm gonna go with my gut on this one, and I'm gonna go the opposite side. I'm gonna go Titans take this one out on the road.
I agree. I agree that the Browns are a better team. But I think that this is a game that is a trap game for the Browns, and I think that the Titans are going to take this one.
All right. Next, we have the Bills versus the Commanders. I'm taking the Bills to win. I think the Commanders are letting up a lot of points, and I think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are going to eat a little bit this week. I'm taking the Bills. Jason's taking the Bills, and Dan has the Bills at -6.5.
I am going to go with the upset special of the week on this one. And Sam Howell gets the dub and gets it home, shows up and pulls it out. It'll be a close one. It'll be a high scoring game, but I think the Josh Allen turnover seals the deal in the fourth quarter.
All right.
Oh. Keeping it interesting in the NFC East. I see we got it going on here. I like it. I do think that the Bills are. I think that the Bills are going to win this. A divisional game from week one, a really bad game from Josh Allen with 3 picks, and he came back last week, showed him what he could do. I think he'll continue that going into this week.
All right. Next, we have Colts Ravens. I'm picking the Ravens. There's no Anthony Richardson this week. It's Gardner Minshew. Pretty simple. I'm taking the Ravens. Jason's taking the Ravens. Dan has Ravens -8.
Without Richardson, I'm going Lamar Jackson has one of his Lamar Jackson type games, and he's going to go over 100 yards rushing.
Yep, I'm taking the Ravens.
All right. Next is Patriots Jets. This is my upset of the week. I think the Jets do win this game at home. Jason also has the Jets winning. It's his upset of the week as well. Obviously, I think Dan has the Jets. He actually has Patriots -2.5. Wow. Okay. Wasn't expecting that.
That's kind of like a somber moment right there. That hurts a little bit.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
I wouldn't call this an upset if the Jets win, because I'm going to take the Jets at home. It's a divisional game. I mean, they haven't beaten, what was the stat? They haven't beaten Bill in
12 straight games.
12 straight games. I mean, I guess that's an upset. But the way Mac Jones is playing against that defense, I think the defense wins the game. If that's the only way they're going to, if Wilson plays mistake free and the defense is going to show up, Quinnen Williams is going to have 2 sacks, a fumble recovery, and Breece Hall is going to run it in for a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm taking the Patriots here. I just think that at this point going forward, Zach Wilson is just a backup quarterback. And any team that they verse is going to be tough for them to come out on top to win. Their defense is still going to be elite. But I think this is a game that is a get-right game for Mac Jones to finally get a win so far into the season. So I'm taking the Patriots.
All right. Next is the Panthers versus Seahawks. I'm taking the Seahawks. Jason's also taking the Seahawks. Bryce Young's hurt. Probably not going to play. Andy Dalton's going to be the starter. Yeah, I mean, this is, again, I think this one's pretty easy. Dan has Seahawks minus 5.5.
This is a bloodbath.
No brainer, Seahawks.
Yep, Seahawks.
Yeah, bloodbath. Next is Bears versus Chiefs in Arrowhead. It's just not it. Taking Kansas City. Jason's taking Kansas City. Dan has the Bears covering 12.5.
Stay away, Dan. Stop. Don't bet this week, Dan. It doesn't seem like it's in the cards for you. Chiefs roll on the fucking Bears. But Fields goes over 300 yards passing this week and gets us a little bit closer to Ray with the pierced titty.
I think that the Bears defensive coordinator is taking the Chiefs as well. Yeah, I'm going Chiefs, no brainer, but fucking Bears suck.
Dull Bears.
Next is Cowboys versus Cardinals. This is my blowout of the week, actually. This is Jason's blowout of the week. I mean, the Cowboys are going to walk into Arizona and just shit all over their field. So, and Dan has Cowboys minus 12.
And I just hopped up on the bandwagon on this one because it's also my blowout of the week. But my question is, who scores more points? The Cowboys offense or the Cowboys defense?
I think it'll be the defense.
Good chance.
The Cardinals have 6 sacks this year. They're getting to the passer. So
yeah, I mean, they'll probably make Dobbs fumble a handful and just take it back to the end zone. Simple as that. Yeah, that's my blowout of the week as well.
all righty. Next is Steelers Raiders in Las Vegas. I'm taking the Raiders. From what I've seen from the Steelers, I'm not impressed. They're not home. When the Steelers are not home, they usually don't really play that well or win. I'm taking Jimmy G and the Raiders. And Jason's also taking Jimmy G and the Raiders. Dan is doing Steelers plus 1.5.
Fuck you, Dan. You are going to lose on that bet too because it's the Raiders this week. Home opener, get back. Playboy Jimmy just spent the whole week at the Bunny Ranch. He is ready to go. He is going to light it up. Fuck you, 2-glove, tiny hand Pickett. This is not your week.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the Steelers psych. I'm going the Raiders.
All right, well, the first of the 2 Monday night games, Eagles Bucks. It's in Tampa Bay. I think this is a bit of a trap game for the Eagles. I'm gonna pick the Eagles to win. I still think they're the better team. But I could realistically see them losing this game. I'm going to take the Eagles, though. Jason, of course, is taking the Eagles, and Dan is taking the Eagles +5.
I agree with you in the sense that it is a trap game. Baker's playing stupid football right now. But until I see a progressive commercial with him and Mike Evans, they're not beating the Eagles. I think tush push gets it done, and Eagles pull it back.
I'm gonna pick Philly as well. I think that there's a lot of magic going on in Tampa Bay, but we have to just push that to the side and acknowledge that the Super Bowl runner-ups are coming in to town. So,
yeah. And finally, we have the Rams versus Bengals. This is actually my game of the week. I think this is going to be a pretty entertaining game. Rematch of the Super Bowl from 2 years ago. I'm going to pick the Bengals. They're at home. Joe Burrow can't possibly have 3 bad games in a row, right? Not 3. The Rams aren't that good. I'm going to take the Bengals. I hope they win. Jason's taking the Rams. Dan has the Rams +2.5.
Zach, you are absolutely right. Burrow is not going to have 3 bad games in a row because he's not going to play this week. The calf is going to keep him out, and the Rams are winning on Monday night.
I agree. I think the Rams are going to win. I think that's what has to be done is hold him off to the side. Otherwise, he's going to re-injure it harder, and he's going to be out even longer. Take the L now, move on, let him heal. He's not ready to play. He's been hurt for a while, and he re-injured his calf in that game. He's not ready to play. I'm telling you right now, the Rams win this game.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Who's your guys' fantasy player of the week?
All right. Well, last week I picked 2, and I think I hit on them because I had T. Higgins, had 2 tuds, had a good game, and I picked Anthony Richardson. And I mean, he only played 7 fucking minutes and put up 17 fantasy points.
Yeah, it was close.
So I think we can consider that a dub as well. Fantasy, football, fantasy. I'm gonna go with the Cheetah. Tyreek Hill has himself a day. And I'm gonna go one more. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm
going with Lamar Jackson. That's my fantasy.
I like that. I think this week I'm gonna go Brian Robinson as well.
Interesting.
Interesting is right. I'm taking Travis Kelce. Missed week 1, had an okay week 2. I think he's going to slaughter against the Bears week 3. So,
that's a good one. I like that.
Jason's fantasy player of the week is Puka Nacua of the Rams.
Puka.
How many receptions? 15 this week?
Sure.
15 for 200 and 3 touchdowns.
All right, thank you guys. I think we're gonna wrap this up here. I'm gonna go watch the second half of the slaughter of my team because we got to be giant. Be giant.
There you go.
Shout out to Steve, Steph's mom. Excellent.
Yeah, Big Steve.
Love Big Steve. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yep. Thank you for having me. Peace.